We're back after the second series of tonight. Hanwha Life Esports versus KT Rolster. Affiliates versus Kai'Sa. And a lot of people said it will be a hard game for Kai'Sa to put a lot of damage. So their master plan would have been Kai'Sa Nautilus hitting level 6 and 3-man dive with Corki, the package, but that was not the case that happened here. Affiliates had the lane priority, and also J4 as well had a huge lead in jungle, so KT wasn't really having a hard time to roll their snowball. So Hanwha Life, they have a very distinct goal to accomplish, but as they failed on it, well, it means that they're gonna be having a hard one. And Vitor thinks that the best AD carry currently is maybe like Jackie Love, so we don't have the comp that kind of gear up with Affiliates, or rather Kai'Sa. Last time it was Lissandra and Wukong, other champions that can enable her to go in with her ultimate, but Hanwha Life didn't really have much of a teamfight angle for Kai'Sa. So at the end of the draft, well, KT compensated the poke damage from Hanwha Life Esports Corki with Jace. So at the end of the game, we could see that Kai'Sa did such a low damage. And here we have a highlight from Tusin doing such a great work on this champion, kind of shows his proficiency and understanding of Taric itself. So Hanwha Life players, they were being a little bit greedy, sieging that top lane with even Jace TP on. So first he used his E, and then Tusin starts hitting the cannon minion because he wanted to utilize or activate that passive cooldown reduction. So with his skill, he had faster auto attack speed, and he also could reduce his E cooldown with his autos, so he landed another stun on Hanwha Life players, so they were able to punish Dudu and Cad, pushing really hard with that Herald. That was the timing where KT Rolster had the priority to rotate to the top side with their bot and support, but Hanwha Life players, they weren't actually aware of this. But to be honest, this game was not looking really pretty for both sides, and this was the point where the game was decided. Well, Hanwha Life had the comp where Corki had a lot of burdens on his shoulder. So this teamfight actually started off with J4's mistake. He just straight walked into the enemy group, but even playing 4v5, KT was the one that winning this fight. Corki flash forward into Taric ultimate and stun. Affiliates was the one-man carry role on the side of KT Rolster, so maybe Corki was going in before the Taric ult activates and just pop him. But his master plan failed, so it was easy for KT Rolster to wipe out all the remaining Hanwha Life players. Let's find out who the POG for game number 1 would be. Tusin, who was the true guardian of that carry role of Affiliates. The way he activated and landed his skill was so brilliant. Taric was already a top-tier champion in the summer split, but it actually depends on how the pilots use this champion, and Tusin was definitely the one that we can call a master of Taric. Especially, it's really hard to kind of find the perfect timing for Taric's ult. In addition, because Lehans was playing Nautilus, well, the Nautilus ultimate can also be the blocking of Turk's ultimate, but that was not what Tusin had this time around. To be honest, J4 Galio combo was not on point, but Tarek was the one that kind of kept earning time and giving KT Rolster the space to win the game. Tusin sharing the votes with aiming, got game leading point for game number 1, and let's move on to game number 2.
Thank you so much, G-Sun, as per usual, as Brendan Valdanalist Valdez made the wrong choice, but thankfully the right person got the player of the game. True. 150% deserved it. He was extraordinary, and I'm really glad that none of the votes went towards the top side of the map because there was a little bit of yakety sax being played. Some fun saxophone during that game, so hopefully in game number 2 the play will be tidied up, and the draft will also be tidied up. I think that yeah, leaving up the Aphelios and leaving up Ezreal as well. I mean, both of these champions are piloted very, very well by aiming. It might have been Hanwha Life going for some sort of bait aiming into picking Ezreal type situation so that they could get themselves the Aphelios, but I think the Trundle priority is very, very high, especially if you're not then going to use it alongside tanks. Because the reason you pick Trundle, right, and you can understand why LCK teams love it so much, it's because it cuts out all tank stacking champions. It takes them out of availability, basically, because Subjugate is so good at removing their ability to absorb damage. Unfortunately, if you then decide that you're just going to straight up pick squishy champions up against the obviously squishy opponent roster, you're not getting any advantage out of it, really. So I don't know. Yeah, that's my take on the whole situation. I think there are a lot of people rolling their eyes about the Trundle first pick.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think, a draft win to KT. Just looking at it, just objectively, and then once we got into the game, we got to see a little bit more of exactly why. And now it raises more questions. You know, I think that Smeb's Jace was a little bit iffy in the laning phase, but it looked great in the mid game. Do you want to let that one go? The Tusin's Tarek, can't exactly ban that one out. There's too many other things to ban away. And where does the Aphelios priority go after that last one? Do you try to ban it away, but then you just give Ezreal to aiming? It's not easy here for Hanwha Life. Yeah, and I think they're definitely on the back foot coming into this second game's draft.
And banning the Karma, I think, is actually really interesting because now KT get a free first pick Ezreal if they want it. Likely that they do. I think that with Aphelios and the Kalista banned away, you have to first pick the Ezreal. And now Hanwha Life will be able to get the Trundle yet again. I imagine that they are just going to lock that one in. But the Kai'Sa to be picked this time into the Ezreal. And that's where the Kai'Sa works, right? So let's hope that it's going to actually work out this time. I mean, I wouldn't mind if Tusin just went back to the Tarek.
Tarek, yeah.
It looked good.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it either. I think they're definitely considering, do we want to give aiming essentially, you know, all of the ability to do whatever he wants in the mid game and hopefully carry just right from there. As another one of those junglers that Bono used to play a bunch was the Xin Zhao, but
anything that goes in and can't really get out is something that Bono really likes to play. Are they really? Okay, it's going to be Lee Sin. And Lee Sin can get out, so that might add something. As Lehen's once again going to be on the Nautilus, he did start some good fights in the mid game. You saw that Hanwha Life were actually able to get themselves a lead. Yeah. And I think a lot of that had to do with Lehen's being able to do well in that instance. So let's just see how this one pans out. The Lee Sin, often a trap card here in the LCK. We'll see whether Bono's going to be able to put behind what was probably one of the worst jungle performances that we've seen so far in Summer. That's objective. That's not us just being mean to Bono. He made so many mistakes in Game 1. Yeah, really needs to fix it for Game 2.
It was a difficult Game 1 for sure. And now I think you might just want to target out Lava here. I was thinking Corki Azir, but they're actually going to take away the Zoe here. Can add an insane amount of pick to your lineup, as Hanwha Life are already looking like they want to just, you know, run it back, just do the same exact thing. And so you have to consider what they chose the last time, which was the Aatrox and Corki. Will they try to ban stuff like that away, or will they target other things? The Wukong is going to be taken away.
Speaking of taken away, the Galio going to be locked in here by Lava this time around. I really like it. You're able to activate the Kai'Sa pretty well. If a fight starts sort of away from you. All right, there's the Sylas, and this is something that KT can do on blue side, because they flex the Sylas between Kuro and Smeb. Both of them have been playing a hell of a lot of the champion. And I think even the Mordekaiser is something that Kuro can play, but likely that is going to be heading towards the top side of the map, as we do have a pretty eclectic draft at the moment coming out from KT. Certainly less team fight, more smoke and mirrors, and trying to single out the one member of the team that you really want to take out of the fight, and that is what Smeb's job is going to be. But it's a blind Mordekaiser, and now Dudu's going to pick the Camille into it.
Yeah, you were talking about Camille in game number 1 alongside of the Galio. This time, Hanwha Life, they were listening to the English broadcast during the break. They're like, hey, you know what? That Camille's great with that champion. Let's do that. And I do think they needed a bit more damage. The Sylas was a little bit of a blocker towards the Ornn, but I think if you're going Ornn alongside of that many beefy boys plus Kai'Sa, I don't know if you really have the damage to take out Ezreal there for the aiming. So I like that Camille offers you a little bit of isolation. Can be difficult against the Tahm Kench. I feel like Tusin's role in this one is going to be, once again, very important from the support side.
Yep, and he's a fantastic Tahm Kench player as well. Ezreal Tahm Kench is in fact the lane that Aiming and Tusin like to play together. As we've seen them up getting player of the game together after their performance on the Ezreal and the Tahm Kench, and I won't repeat what was said by the Korean commentators because I thought it was a little bit mean, but maybe you understand what that is, as Aiming was represented as Ezreal in the opening video as the representative for KT. So we have a look over this roster, pretty standard Galio stuff here, as Viper is going to attempt to be that hyper carry as we move into the later stages, not having to deal with the extreme volume of years that KT had in game number 1. They're up against Aiming's Ezreal, though, and especially with the Tahm Kench. You've already spoken about this, but Aiming's very aggressive. So utilizing the Tahm Kench's safety might help him when he's arcane shifting forward at every possible opportunity. Let's see how it goes, as we are onto Summoner's Rift for what could be the final game of the night, unless Hanwha Life manage to turn things around.
Well, the last time you and I cast together, it went all 6 games, Atlas, so hopefully I can bring you another nice present and bring you the 6 games here. Although I do have faith in Aiming Tusin. I think that up against this comp, they are going to be so crucial up against what Hanwha Life have brought in terms of that hard engage. They're going to take out that ward there, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on that guy right there. They're actually continuing with the engage here.
Yeah, moving all the way through. Is Aiming and Tusin not going to get into any trouble by the looks of things, as Lehens gets himself all the way into the brush. And yeah, this bottom side is well and truly warded. And Hanwha Life are in full vision of their opposition. That's all right, Kuro. You know that they're there. Let's be careful.
I thought that maybe Bono would just get in there and take the blue away, but he's just going to play it safe. Or not the blue, the red. He's just going to play it safe and go for his own blue. And just go for a bit of a normal clear. You can see a lot of pings on the red, as that's what Hanwha Life was expecting. But maybe it's also a little bit of a mind game from Bono that he's not going to go in there. We got 4 Conqueror on the side of KT.
We are conquering. That's what we're looking to do.
Yeah, where's the Conqueror there, Tusin?
Yeah, what you think?
You're messing with the team spirit.
You need to have 4 Conquerors and a Guardian. That's how you win, based on the class system. As full knowledge, CAD going for some vertical jungling. I have a feeling Bono's just going to be able to go for the same thing as our supports do, trade some health bar. But it's not really working out super impactfully for either side. Smeb up here. Let's see how he goes on the Mordekaiser. lands that obliterate, so he's got that one going for him.
Yeah, good start, although it's not going to be the easiest lane in the world as Bono, he's not going to his red. I don't really...
He knows that he doesn't have a
really
red buff.
get this. I mean, he's going to go clear his Raptors, and yeah, I mean, he'll get an earlier reset on that, but I mean, why is he playing so safe on the Lee Sin when he knew that CAD went into his red buff? He could have easily taken the blue or the red of the enemy team. Instead, he's like, okay, I guess I'll just I'll accept getting 3 buffed.
Yeah, and that's what he did. So I'm also perplexed. Might just go to a Rift Scuttler now on the south side. But yeah, that's very odd. Bono has, you know, he had a disaster of a game 1, so it might be a confidence issue out from this guy. He just doesn't want to have any issues, which, you know, you could possibly understand, but getting 3 buffed feels bad every single day of the week.
Yeah. I actually, I saw Hirai talking to him after the game. They were having a pretty in-depth conversation. I wonder what was exchanged in that conversation. Maybe Hirai said to him, hey man, you're not having a great day. I just want you to play safe, calm, collected, try to get yourself back, you know, on your feet here. And maybe that led to Bono being a little bit overly safe here as now he's looking to perhaps overcompensate, gets in there, gets seen, and now he does have to back away. The odd pathing from CAD to try to get into the enemy jungle and take the red and a little bit of the Raptors does mean that actually they will be even on farm for now, but CAD does have a lot more of his jungleable left of available for him. And he'll be able to take that down real quick.
Yeah. At least Bono didn't die there, but wasn't able to take away the red side Gromp. But look, Aiming and Tucson is still in the game, as you can see. So that is what we're going to be hanging our hats on if you're looking for KT to find some success. Hanwha Life, they also do rely on their bottom lane, so this is going to be the most important point for both of these teams, as Kuro wins out on that trade quite nicely, but you can see mana bars are an issue for at least the KT mid laner.
Yeah. I really did like the Sylas pick into this team, by the way. You already were looking at Subjugate, Hero's Entrance, and I think it was the Kai'Sa? Yeah, the Kai'Sa and the Nautilus. So he had 4 members already where it's like, okay, I mean, I've got some good ults to steal here. I can go ahead and take it, have a pretty free lane up against the Galio. Be all good with that.
All right, there's the hook shot. Tries to lock down Bono, who lands the Q, needs one more auto, but Tempest will do it, and that guarantees Bono's life. Really well played by the KT jungler. That's a bounce back if ever I've seen one.
Yeah, finally gets his feet underneath him. He's able to stabilize here for a bit. It wasn't the cleanest dive, but they got the job done, as it looked like Smeb was able to pull him in and line it up after Dudu did go for the hook shot. So nicely played by the 2 of them. It does give up this early Mountain Drake, but that's not going to be too much of a big deal. Getting that Lee Sin and even the Mordekaiser ahead of this somewhat difficult lane early is going to be quite nice.
Yep, having a look at it one more time. Dudu flashes, but
he actually
lands right on the edge.
Back in, actually. I thought he got pulled.
I think he did get pulled, and then he hook shot.
And then he hooks in.
Back in again.
Yeah. And then flashes. I think he should have tried to hook shot.
치면 쳐야 돼.
Dodge the Q with this flash. I don't think they would have had any ability to close the distance if he had gone for that line of play, but wanted to go for the stun and potentially lock him in under the turret, but it didn't look like he had turret aggro there just yet because it was on to Smeb instead of Bono, who was the guy he stunned. So you can see the line of thinking. Didn't pan out for Dudu. No Dududungas here to start off for him.
Nope. Not at this stage. Aiming and Tucson back together again. They push this wave in very even farm as far as the bottom side of the map. So, nothing to really report as Lahen's going to be joined by CAD.
They're trying to make the Galio gank work here, I think.
Yeah, but the dredge line not going to land. Tucson knows that he just needs to stay a little bit further back. Ooh, his aiming even gets that cannon creep. I was half expecting that one not to land, but I think you might have been expecting as well. Tongue Lash lands onto Viper as well.
Yeah, Tucson sniped that one. I was looking at Lahens and Cad coming over. I'm like, you guys, even 3v2, you're not going to get a kill against Ezreal Tom Kens with double flash and exhaust. But with the Galio coming down, they were looking to kind of wombo combo and hopefully burst someone with level 6 Kai'Sa. Didn't pan out, though. You need that first hook to land. And so the dig was up, and that was it. Spano, he just hit level 6, actually, on the Krugs. Doesn't look like they're going to go for another dive this time. Maybe just take out the Rift Heralds early.
Yeah, and we're going to have Cad coming down again. If first you don't succeed, try again. As KT, they're getting to work on Shelly, and Cad is going to be able to steal away yet another buff. There haven't been too many that Bono's been able to claim, but he might be able to collect the enemy red buff this time around, but hasn't really been his playstyle so far today, so instead, he's going to get to work on this red buff, and I believe Cad is just going to have a free ride back to his own jungle to grab yet another red buff for himself.
Yeah. It's very interesting. You think of Lee Sin in pro play and in solo queue, you see him as quite aggressive early when he's really strong, especially once he hits level 6. But Bono is kind of, you know, he's flipping the script on that one, kind of being a little bit different, playing very safe, just going for the objectives and for the, you know, the easy kills essentially on the dives instead of, I mean, going for what looks like, from our view, a pretty free couple of buffs.
Yep, right now pulling out the enemy red though, so is able to get over there. No, I tell a lie. I thought I saw him doing that on the minimap. That wasn't the case. And he's just going to allow no red buffs to go over to Bono at all this game so far.
He was just like, I got caught too many times last game. That's you know, the maximum amount of times I'm allowed to be caught in this series. So unfortunately, I can't take any risks of getting caught all out by myself. If I die on a dive, that's fine, but can't die by myself.
Oh, Smep having a great time here towards the top side. Currently close to a couple of waves ahead, but with these minions moving in, it's more like one and a bit. Do remember, he was the one that picked the Camille into the Mordekaiser. Then dove, didn't quite find his opportunity, so... Ooh, Smep could have activated the passive there and does eventually get it with that last Obliterate, but it was almost a much better trade than what we just saw.
Yeah, this is a pretty nice time for the Mordekaiser versus Camille. It feels you get that arm guard and you already got the Camille behind because of the little gank, so you're sitting pretty, you're not taking too much damage. Camille needs, you know, at least a couple items to really start getting in your face and doing enough damage to threaten your life, especially when you have the Death Realm available to just cut back some of the damage and do some of your own extra. And so it's actually Smeb after that first gank who's putting on a lot of pressure here early on. And Bono really hasn't had to revisit, although he is heading up towards the top side once again. This does mean he could give away the Infernal, though.
Yeah, that is another Drake that they're going to miss out on, so that is really bad news. You can see Bono, he decides to counter jungle when it's actually a really bad idea, to be honest. Giving away those two Drakes is real bad news, but...
That ward.
Looks like they should be able to grab this as the Q does connect once again. There's a Hextech ultimatum, and Smeb is going to survive in the end.
That ward was so sad. It's like it sees absolutely nothing. They've got full vision with their own control ward, and that is just the easiest alley-oop as well into the kill. They get the kill, they drop a couple of plates down, they put the Shelly down. It's very cookie cutter, something you would teach a very new player to pro play or something like that. You know, just go for these kind of setup plays, as he might actually get caught here.
Yep, interrupted as he has to control ward. That was a flash somewhere. I don't know, I heard the flash button. As Bono, he's going to get knocked up. He's in the death room now, guys. Goodbye. Cad flashed. Maybe Lahens did as well. Oh, was it a Hex flash? That would have been completely fine.
maybe like a little one? I don't know.
A little one. Little baby Hex Flash.
Itty bitty Hex Flash.
So, scary that now KT do need to stop the next few Drakes to avoid Hanwha Life getting to that soul point. The Mountain and Infernal, same Drakes that we got last game as far as the first two, but Ocean Soul is much scarier. You guys saw it in the Mad movie that we had in between our games.
Yeah.
BDD demonstrating that the way you win is to have Ocean Soul. And then you just auto-attack everyone as Azir, and you're absolutely fine.
Yeah.
He's also a phenomenal player, but that particular play illustrated exactly the power of Ocean Drake. And have a look at it once again.
Yeah. The ward, very sad. And then Dudu here, he does have flash, but he's like, yeah, I'm pretty dead. I think perhaps had he gone for the super outplay and maybe flash in for another auto, maybe he gets close, but I don't know. I think it's better to just save it and hope that you can lane safer. Although he should have known that if he dies, he's going to lose his turret anyway, so could have set up some kind of freeze or maybe played it safer from there. As there's the Hex Flash from the side of Lehens. We'll be seeing more of that as this game does come along.
Absolutely. As Ingo's Kara gets taunted though, and then punched. But in the end wins the trade because he's Silas, spins around a whole bunch. Looks like he's not doing damage, but he actually is. His aiming moves out of the way. And the Q is going to kill the rest of the minions. Control ward there in the brush. One put down here as well as KT look to take control of the bottom lane, understanding that now is probably about time that they decide to prioritize some dragons. Tucson, though, gonna get punished for it. Goes golden, does still have flash and exhaust available, and avoids the dredge line. Teleport's coming in. There's the heroic entrance as Lava tries to get himself out of the way, but he's in the death realm now as Smeb diving on top of the gargoyle, trying to get him out of this fight. We'll get him back in there, though, as there's the huge kickback, and eventually Lava will fall. It's a catastrophe in this fight, but KT do come out ahead with a couple of kills. Minute and a half left on the Drake. Not exactly something worth fighting for at this current moment, but Bono will finally be able to get himself a few camps of the enemy jungle.
Yeah, they were kind of just all bunched up there. Hanwha Life perhaps panicking a little bit after they went for the bait that is the Tom Kench. I know the catfish is probably looking really delicious, and you're thinking you're going to have a really nice dinner today. Well, that was not the case. You get baited in hard. Lava gets baited in. Perfect teleport here from Smeb to force everybody to kind of stick around, because you're thinking, hey, maybe we can turn this one. But how about a four-man knockup just casually? Yeah. As I think that was the Silas that got in there. And
I think it was a depth charge.
Yeah, stole the depth charge, knocks everybody up. And that's why the Silas looks really good into this comp. You're looking at so many team fight, game-changing ultimates, and you're like, well, with just one ult like that, I'm going to change the game. And immediately from there, they were able to chase him down. As, you know, you've got Ezreal, you've got Silas, Lee Sin. You're not getting away from this comp if they get ahead in a team fight. And so now miles ahead.
Yeah, I just looked at the gold. What the hell?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's
like
top lane. It's top lane just getting super far ahead. Every other lane going even or slightly ahead for KT. And Tucson might be the bait again here.
Oh no, he fails to flash! It's a disaster. That's the blast cone. That's going to get Kuro out of there. But now, Soul Point should be pretty comfy for Hanwha Life as they pull out the Ocean Drake. Bono is taking a mid-outer turret. And yes, it is just Soul Point. It's not the actual soul, but still. Cad should be taken down here. Smeb flashing in on top of him. Death Realm was there as the Drake is taken by Hanwha Life. But are they going to be able to stay alive in this fight as Lava? He goes golden. And everyone's just going to wait for the Galio to get out. And now they're looking to try and get Dudu as well as Viper. Oh no, if the top laner goes down. I mean, Viper is well and truly dead. He's going to try and take Kuro with him. There's the kick flash. Don't know whether that was necessary, but they are still able to grab that kill. And they're 8,000 gold ahead now. And maybe they're just going to win the game within 4.5 minutes, and then it doesn't matter that Dragon Soul was there for Hanwha Life.
Yeah, a bit of a catastrophe for the side of Hanwha. They get the pick this time as Tucson, I think he could have just blasted the pillar and taken the blast plant, but he wanted to get all the way over the wall. Did not work out. And I think they still could have won this 4v5 had Bono just stuck around. You Death Realm the enemy jungler. Your jungler comes in and smites it. And you're so far ahead that I think you can just win from there. I mean, Smeb is so fed right now.
Oh, yeah.
That there's no way that Cat's just going to survive in that one.
Well, now they're looking to try and kill Kuro, who gets himself a Hextech ultimatum. We'll see whether that actually helps them out there as he puts Cat in it. And gets taunted, and that's going to be an easy kill going over to Viper. Meanwhile, on the rest of the map, KT isn't doing anything. So that was just free. Yeah, Baron's not even on the map yet, guys. It's 18 minutes in. And it feels like this is just getting completely out of control. But getting a kill on Kuro certainly means something.
Yeah, not much to talk about here. I think KT were in this awkward spot where a lot of members were backing or clearing out jungles or pushing out lanes, and they were like, well, I guess Kuro was a little bit ahead of the curve on that one. He was like 30 seconds ahead of his team as he was way too far down the lane, and 5 members were easily able to get up there and take him out. So,
ooh. Smeb going for the build of their workshop, well and truly. I actually love it though. So sometimes people just go for the Zhonyas as like the second item because that's what you're supposed to do. Smeb didn't really want to complete that because he still has an unbroken stopwatch. So you may as well use it, get the value out of it, before you then build the Zhonyas. Because the Zhonyas is there for some stats, but the active of the stopwatch is part of the value. So you may as well sit on it, build yourself some extra stats, until you have no stopwatch available, and then you can put it together at that point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely the main part of the Zhonya's, right? The active, and the only problem that you might run into is inventory space. But we'll see how he does handle that. Maybe he can just buy a straight up item with his insane amount of gold that he must have in this one. He's 4-0-4, thanks to a nice focus from his own jungler and getting ahead there. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta be careful when you're on soul point, but I think especially with the fed Mordekaiser, who's 4 levels above the enemy jungler, you can probably just run at Trundle and deny any chance at a smite and take every Ocean Drake from here on out, if it even gets to that point. I think we'll probably see 1 or 2 more, and then KT will probably win a team fight, take Baron, and then eventually win the game. I'm not really sure how Hanwha Life are going to get this one, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a toughie. You can see aiming, bullying Lehens away from that control ward as well. You can see he's playing with confidence. Kuro is winning by about 40 CS in the mid lane. And Bono, to his credit, really looks different to what we saw in game number 1 on a champion that he hasn't really played as much. I mean, he was the Olaf and Jarvan 2-trick. He played a heck of a lot of Lee Sin, of course, when he was playing for BBQ, to varying success, to be perfectly honest. But it does certainly fit into his wheelhouse. It's just good to see that it didn't really affect him. It shows that that conversation with Hirai really did help him out. And you were talking about inventory space. Smeb's not too worried about that, as Dudu's going to have his back stopped, because aiming just feels like being a nuisance.
Yeah, Smeb casually picks up the plated Nashers. And they're just going to chill around the Ocean Drake. I think if Hanwha Life play extremely passively from here, we might have this game delayed. But they do have to hope for a late game, like a late game, where they can get that
Bono just a straight up hit. That's going to be the result of that. Depth charge comes down once again as Smeb has the death realm. He's going to put Dudu in it and lands all the abilities as well. Now just trying to chase after him. Hextech ultimatum comes in, but Smeb does get the solo kill. He's just so far ahead. As Kuro is going to be taken down. Lava not going to be just as punching his way out of this one. And Smeb is just gigantic. He's got so many extra stats as well as Viper, doing what he can, but aiming's just bouncing around the fight, having the best time you can possibly have. And Hanwha Life, it was a heroic effort, but unfortunately, it just was not enough. And KT will be able to deny the Drake and then continue to push, possibly even just grabbing a Baron.
Yeah, honestly, it didn't look like too bad of an engage after you find Bono, as Lehens is desperately trying to carry his team in 2 games in a row now on Nautilus, but it just wasn't meant to be in this one. as Camille looks so flimsy. I mean, I was just watching the Death Realm the whole time. It's like he couldn't do anything. The follow-up engage from Lava was really good. Gotta hand it to him, but they're just too far behind. I mean, aiming is totally protected. Smeb is frontlining and doing insane amounts of damage, as is aiming just able to arcane shift forward and throw out
미드 봐줄게, 미드 봐줄게.
billions of damage.
빼면서 해봐, 빼면서
Watch him
살면서.
avoid the Justice Punch, by the way. Bye.
나 카밀
See ya.
들어갔고.
Yeah.
카밀 잡았어 일단.
I got Camille
천천히.
slowly, and then here we go.
Lens, Cat, I don't know whether that's helping.
Nice filler.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Well, they're just going to take the Baron here, I think.
Yeah.
Cat doesn't have flash. They are down 11,000 gold almost.
At 23 minutes, might I add. Smeb, he's gatekeeper. He's very scary looking, and that's for good reason.
Yeah. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, because the game does feel kind of over from here, to be honest, I'm like, who do we give player of the game to? I think it's got to be Bono, to be honest. It's not aiming. Thank you for crossing that out. I have that already checked from earlier.
I mean, Bono makes some sense, but also Smeb is straight hard carrying this game.
But
and I mean, it was
got
because of
fed,
Bono,
yeah.
you know, allowed him to get fed. But he did play some great team fighting Mordekaiser, which is something that we don't see a lot in the LCK. Something that's started cropping up. I think Keen is another example of someone that has certainly figured it out after Zoom gave us the lesson at MSC. Certainly looked very, very good.
Sat all of us down and kind of taught us what's what.
Either way, this is what's good about this champion.
Yeah, I mean,
5 levels ahead of Cad.
you can't really do what he was able to do in this game without getting really fed early on. But he did play it well from ahead, so it's kind of an interesting idea.
Well, Zudu's going to go for the engage. He dives onto aiming as the heroic entrance is going to be there, but Devour is one hell of an ability. It is going to cost Tucson his life, as now Kuro's looking for the depth charge. He wants to get it onto a priority target, as there's the Death Realm onto Cad. He walks to the edge of it and now has to accept his fate. So it's a 1-for-1 in the end. Was the last-ditch attempted fight from Hanwha Life, and honestly, it could have gone worse. They're still going to lose their inhibitor top lane, and probably bottom lane, and maybe their Nexus. But it could have been worse.
Yeah, they could have not gotten the Tahm Kench, but that does highlight why you go for the Tahm Kench in this kind of comp. There was so much hard engage available. Even though they only saw Kai'Sa Trundle, they had already played Kai'Sa Nautilus in the bottom lane, and Galio is available. So I think the Tahm Kench pick second behind the Ezreal was actually a very smart decision. Perhaps Hanwha Life could have changed up their draft after seeing the Tahm Kench, but they had an idea in mind and they went for it. It's kind of annoying that these Ocean Rift bushes
탑
don't
봐줄게.
render
탑텔 봐줘,
properly.
탑텔 봐줘, 탑텔 봐줘. 천천히 빼면서. 빼면서 하면 이겨, 빼면서 하면 이겨.
As you're backing, let's go back in. Slowly.
Oh, so sad.
트런들
Isn't
일단
it?
잡았거든.
Now we've
Got Trundle.
오케이. 이번 거 깨자. 이번에 깝치면 그냥 다이브 압박 줄 거야.
Smeb is the only one talking, by the way. He has
Yeah.
taken this series by the horns.
If they get cocky, I'll just put dive pressure on them. And you can tell that production's loving it. Finally, Smeb's having a
Yeah.
good game. They're like, hey, every Smeb highlight, get them rolling right now, like hotcakes. We're selling them.
Yep. But 13,000 is the lead now. It's looking like, Valdez, you're not going to be able to stay true to your promise of maximum games.
Yeah. That's a shame.
Yeah, not going to get you value. Not going to get your money's worth, you know? I should be the one to
Not value Valdez today.
Oh my god, 4.3k gold
Yeah.
in the lead. As Cad's just going to die to aiming here, who's 4 levels ahead of him. True shot barrage, flash does come out. That would have been a style points ult for the kill. but still gets the flash. Would have died had that flash not been there. As, yep, this mid inhibitor turret is going to die. Smeb down here towards the bottom side. He has a blasting wand and a ruby crystal. Okay, I'm going to hold that thought. Good arcane shift there from aiming. Gets himself out of the way of Dudu's engage. And that's inhibitor number 2 going down. Inhibitor number 3 coming up immediately afterwards, as that's a real deep teleport. Don't know where Bono is. Saw him down towards that ocean drake. In goes Galio. And that is going to be the Hextech ultimatum. Dudu does get a really big shield after the heroic entrance, but Smeb, he's put him into the Death Realm, and then he's ran through the base gate. That was rude. The Nautilus is going to go down, though, as the Death Realm finishes, and aiming's going to be there to try and tidy up. Meanwhile, it was 4v5, because Bono was randomly getting a dragon.
Yeah, why not at this point? Might as well min-max and get the, the maximum amount of points. Maybe we can hit a high score, is what Bono's saying.
Yep.
They didn't need him. He had already done his job in the early game. And
Kuro, that was a sacrificial play right there as aiming. Trying to get the kill onto Dudu. He does go golden for a moment. Viper does the same thing. You may as well put it on cooldown as Smeb. He's not going to be dying this game, Viper. He is! He walked back into turret range.
I'm giving my vote to Bono.
All right, for that dragon. He got the dragon. He was focusing on what you're supposed to focus on. The game isn't over yet, though, guys. It should be, but it's not. His aiming, he can arcane shift out if he wants to, as there's the flash forward. And Lava is going to get the arcane shift here as Bono just going to die. And, okay, in goes the Tahm Kench. Tucson trying to go 1 versus 2. Thought maybe he'd have someone that he'd brought with him as, cue the yakety sack. That's going to go down. Aiming's going for the hero play as the Nexus is dying, guys. Another arcane shift will be available relatively soon, but the Void Seeker finds him. The invisible one, of course, just to make us very confused. As, Super Creeps, they are going to deal with this one. KT couldn't quite aim for it. They have managed to pick up the aggro as there we go. Kuro comes in and says, stop the funny business, we're taking the 2-0, and they do it. What a way to end this.
There you go. What a game, number 2. That was, let's just make that the background video for Yakety Sax. That was actually a lot of fun. A lot of that action in the mid to late game was quite entertaining. And it all stemmed from the early lead that they got in the top side. It really should be, I think, a dual player of the game to both Smeb and Bono. Bono got it going, and then Smeb kept it rolling and had a great game of Mordekaiser. Finally, kind of getting into his own here.
And also Bono saving the dragon stats, I think, is really important as well, because we do show those stats at the start of the game. And, and KT had terrible dragon stats. They were 10th. And so now they might be 8th, potentially.
Yeah, and if you're Hanwha Life, I think can we scrap the Kaisa now? I mean, I don't. Yeah, it just doesn't seem great. It's not good into Aphelios. I suppose if you're ahead and you can hard engage, it can be good into Ezreal, but that kind of hard engage Kaisa comp is what Ezreal players are good at playing into. And Ezreal as a champion is good at playing into, so I'm not really sure about that priority on that pick.
Yeah, I think both of these teams need to work on a lot of things. I think CAD was definitely a bit of a loony in game number 2. Wasn't exactly what you were expecting out of a pretty strong dollar, to be perfectly honest. As an Australian, certainly appreciate the Canadian dollar, but CAD, that one pillar that sort of trapped Lehens to his death. Sort of explained how game 2 kind of went for him. Yeah. But Bono did play the early game quite well, although he was sacrificing a lot of his buffs, things like that. CAD was getting around the map there, but as far as actually having any impact was concerned, he spent a lot of time bottom lane where KT picked a bottom lane that did not need their jungler there at all. That was why they picked it, and they demonstrated that that's exactly why, right? Because it's very, very difficult to actually gank it. They had appropriate vision, and they were able to play it out pretty well, and I actually felt strategically things went better. KT still had their whoopsie moments at the end, but at that point their wallets were so heavy, it doesn't even really matter if you miss hitting someone with one of them, because one of the others is going to knock them all out.
Yeah, it kind of just turned into Aiming's playground, where he's like, let's make the fight as difficult as possible and see if I can outplay it. It's like, let me limit tests here at the end, guys. Let me just have a little bit of fun. As Aiming once again proves that I don't think you should leave Ezreal available for this player. Shows that he can play Aphelios into, comps that are not so great into Aphelios, but he had a good game of Aphelios too.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Aiming just every day, bit by bit, split by split, is getting to be one of the better 80 carries here in the LCK.
It was the biggest surprise of spring, I think, in the LCK for 2020. Definitely played fantastically well. I think alongside Tucson, they've had experience together before, but I think Aiming did a lot of growing up, and then Tucson comes back, and he's just very happy to be there. And this fight, this was all Tucson just baiting all of them in. Smeb death rolls a gargoyle and then proceeds to be way too large for the rest of the game, actually.
Kuro steals it, waits, casually gets all 5 members, actually. Not even the 4, as I think Lahen's got knocked up there as well. And
knocked up by his own depth charge. Stolen away from him, feels bad.
I think Bono should have been here for this fight. I'll just say that again.
Yeah.
Because you can just death realm the enemy jungler, then you have 1 smite to 0, and then you click on the dragon and take the dragon. But that was not the way that Bono wanted to play it. He wanted to try to force down the mid turret a little bit faster. Didn't end up mattering.
Yeah, that flash of spawn is actually fantastic there from Kuro as well, who was a bit of a silent warrior this game. We were spending a lot of time talking about top lane. This is another example of some fantastic play out of Smeb. Gets in here, avoids that death roam really beautifully, and stops Dudu from being able to ruin Aiming's life. You can see Aiming playing so far up, knowing that there is no way in heck that that Camille is coming out of that death roam. That's just not a thing.
Yeah, and every single fight after the first couple was Smeb in the front line, aiming with miles of room. Here's why you pick Tahm Kench. If it were a more even game, we could have seen more opportunities for value from that Tahm Kench pick. Still looked pretty good into this composition.
Yeah. And Cad, another really sad moment for him. As Lava, I mean, this was 4v5, remember, guys. That's why it looked a little bit more even. But honestly, the wallets were heavy at this point, so it didn't even really matter. Yeah.
이거 많이 나오면 내가 때려줄게.
We're gonna listen.
무조건 빼야 돼. 무조건 빼야 돼. 갈리오 텔이
아, 갈리오 텔 빠졌어. 갈리오 텔 빠졌어.
오케이.
네, 봐줘라. 여기 봐줘라.
하람이 할만하다 이거.
이길만 더 해보기가 나거든.
We can probably win this,
잘
actually.
해봐라.
알았어, 해봐.
Let's
앞으로는
try
안 갔으면 좋겠어.
일단 리시는 죽었어.
다 여기까지 궁대고. 왼쪽 봐야 될 것 같아.
웬만하면 빼줘라. 웬만.
사람이
노공
이긴 것
노공.
같은데? 졌다.
찼네.
앞비전을 박네.
야 이거 바론
Nice
바론 봐야 돼 바론.
하나만
Yeah,
텔
just
받을까?
waited there to die.
어, 빠져라.
텔 10초야 근데 없어. 카민이
like-
먼저
야
나와.
끝났.
아,
이거
좋았다, 좋았다.
그냥
It
끝내던지.
said,
텔 타서.
그러게.
yeah, okay, that confused me
괜찮아,
because when the
그냥
Ezreal
끝낼만
died, it showed
나
that Lava got a
텔
kill,
타서 끝내 이거.
but it was actually
그냥.
Lava
아,
killing the
타, 타, 타,
Tahm
타.
Kench.
Ah,
한
good.
명만
I was
내려갈게.
like, what?
야, 도발 조심해라, 도발.
It was a bit confusing.
나이스.
He said
나이스.
next.
야.
Feels like everybody else that was running on over was excited about that game, the rest of KT. You can see that little bit of a dip down towards the end where maybe the concentration faltered just a little bit. But that's okay. Aiming still had control of that one. 33.3k damage. I like the number. As I think that this game had a lot more to do with the top side. Bono sort of repairing what was a terrible game 1 and moving it into a better game 2. That, you know, some of the macro decisions maybe need to be adjusted. However, the mechanical play was much better. And Smeb was just a monstrous suit of armor, wandering around.
Mordekaiser's scary when he gets that far ahead. That's for sure. When he goes 2-0-2 and he gets all the turret plates, he is going to pick up the player of the game here.
That's 2 that you got wrong, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. That's, yeah.
Well, And it's not that you got them wrong. It's not like they were robbed. You just got it wrong, though.
Yeah, true.
It's okay. You didn't need
Very, very wrong. And I mean, Smeb played well from ahead. I just wonder how the game would have looked if he didn't get ahead. I think Bono had a great early game in this one. But either way, Mordekaiser was nice. He just had so many items at this in all of these replays where it's like he can click on anyone and pretty much kill.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I mean, he did the right thing. It would have been great if the jungler was there to smite the dragon. Right?
That's something we call for all the time. If you play Mordekaiser, Death Realm the enemy jungler and win the smite fight. You just gotta time it right and you can get it easily.
Yeah, true. We've seen a lot of Mordekaisers sort of get it wrong, though, in a lot of these team fights.
Yes.
Look a little bit forgettable. I feel like his Death's Grasp were on point. I feel like he was landing all of his skills, you know, getting in there, utilizing the passive. It was chaotic, to say the least, but this is going to mean that we'll be able to chat with both Tucson and Smeb as well. So
great.
That's cool.
It's a cool combo.
First time that we've spoken to KT as well, because this is going to be their first victory. So let's throw it over to Jisun for some interview translation.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's hear from Tucson, Smeb from KT, who got their first win of the split. How do you feel, Tucson? Yeah, it was not easy for us to get this win, but I hope we can stack it up to 2 wins, 3 wins, and keep going up. Smeb, you looked really happy and sounded super happy. The mic check, how do you feel? Well, after my return, I'm playing as a mindset of a rookie player, so this first win means a lot to me. I guess you guys needed some time to tidy up. So, how was your return? Did you adapt soon enough, or do you still need some time? Well, the scrims, practice, and even the competitive games, I just loved it. It was so fun, so I'm enjoying everything. I'm doing my best as a comeback player. Susan, her performance on Tarik was on point, and it's been about 6 months since she played against Williams and Viper. I mean, those two used to be such a great players. So I thought that it's gonna be a very intense competition going on in the bot side, but actually our top side was just winning games so easily in the early phase. Well, but the game was getting back and forth, and it was a little bit extended in game 1. So how did you see the whole situation? The game was quite long in game number 1. Did you guys think that you guys are having the lead? We weren't worried about late games, and also Smeb was a great chase player, so we were able to pick up that easy win. Smeb is overreacting every comment about the top lane, so in the analyst task, they were focusing on your dazzle, your E skill, because you were utilizing that passive skills great. Did you practice that? Well, when I put my E on my teammates, well, it's up to them at the same time. So I can also say that our teammates were doing a great job as well, landing those stuns on the enemy players. Smeb, you are playing up against the rookie player Dudu. Well, you did mention you're playing as a rookie player, but he's a real rookie. As he is a rookie player, I can kind of tell that he was nervous based on this performance. So even though me myself is a rookie as well, yeah, I can definitely tell he was having a little bit of a stage jitters. And tell us about the Mordekaiser pick. Well, based on the enemy comp, Mordekaiser could be a huge pressure to them. And during my downtime, I also played against Cloud Templar 1v1, and I was really impressed by his Mordekaiser performance, so I consider playing it today. Smeb is the best from Cloud Templar.
자 그리고 아이 마지막까지 진짜 그 노데스로 끝내고 싶지 않았어요. 어땠어요?
So, you were almost there to have a zero-death game, but in the end, you died to a lot of turret shots. Because, like, the victory was so close to us, I kind of let my guards down, so I was just walking forward. I think I was really comfortable and at the same time kind of losing my grasp. And I heard the KT Sports CEO is here with you guys. And he was like worried the player might feel a little bit of pressure, but what about you as a player? Did that help? To be honest, I didn't really notice, so that was like no pressure at all. The fact that the CEO is here, and I'm just happy that we were able to give him this victory. Susan, any message for the KT Sports CEO? Well, I mean, we took 2 steps backwards to take a step forward. So please look forward to our performance. I hope KT can take 2, 3, 4 steps forward throughout the summer split. To wrap up, your next opponent will be Damwon, and you have to face Nuguri. Well, I think Nuguri is the best top laner in the current meta. So I guess I have to kind of hold on and absorb his pressure. So I think our team as a whole should discuss whether we have to face him with the same amount of power or whether we should go passively. And Tusin, any last message for your fans? To start off, we got this first win, so we will do our best to keep this forward. And also, we have a star player rookie right here, Smap, so we all together will do our best to keep this good performance. So this will be the end of the interview with Tusin Smap from KT Rolster, and I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji-sun, as per usual. Fantastic to hear from both Smeb, the rookie, and Tusin. Always
the veteran.
I actually love having veterans on interviews like this because you actually get the interesting questions and the interesting answers.
Yes.
And Smeb was definitely being a little bit overly PC, but you could see it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek. So really good to hear from those guys. Also great to hear about his matchup against Cloud Templar, which was a lot of fun. KT do save themselves from the very bottom of the pack with their first victory here today. They'll go up with Solo and Prince at 1 and 2. And with that one extra victory, they will be able to get themselves over the line as far as that 8th spot is concerned. Hanwha Life, though, it's a little bit of a yikes down there with Sandbox.
They're really struggling. The move over of Viper over isn't helping enough as their top lane has, or top side of the map, I should say, has kind of gone boom. But the next matchup, guys, DRX up against Sandbox. That should be a pretty one-sided matchup, actually, unless Sandbox pulls something out. And then Genji up against Damwon is an awesome game.
That is super hype. That should theoretically be UNLS, but, you know, we don't know about how LS is feeling. If you guys forgot, he had a few issues, so had to leave the broadcast here today. We're hoping he's feeling okay. Of course, nothing life-threatening. He is going to be okay. But whether he's going to be here tomorrow or not is something that we're going to have to find out. But either way, that is going to be super sweet. Even the DRX game, because the consistency check needs to be done for those guys as well. But the check that's happening now is the one that we have to go. So good night, guys. We'll see you back here for tomorrow for some more LCK.
And I am ready to take it on. You told me to be myself and never feel alone. You're all that I want, you're all that I need. If I was ever in the dark